Thank you for tuning in to this AWS training and certification video, wherein we will go ahead and talk about the different challenges which are encountered by SMB. So today we will go ahead and we will learn what all challenges are there for our retail SMBs and how we can go ahead and overcome these challenges with the help of cloud service providers. And at the end, we will try to understand how AWS helps the retail SMBs to go ahead and cater to the customer requirements and ensure that they are able to give wow experience to their customers. Before we start, a little bit about me. My name is Shivendra Pratap Singh. I work as a technical trainer with AWS training and certification team. And I will go ahead and I will take you across this entire video and will try to understand or will help you understand your journey when you start onboarding onto any cloud service provider. But before we start, before we get into today's details, let's quickly have a look at the agenda, what we will be doing for this entire session. So first, we will start with digitalization of SMB with cloud. So why cloud and how it will go ahead and help the SMBs, why digitalization is needed. We'll try to go ahead and we'll try to understand that first. And then we will go ahead and understand what is the present market situation, what all different requirements you have to go ahead and keep in mind before you start moving on to cloud or before you start catering to your customer needs, how exactly cloud can benefit you in this digitalization journey. So we are talking about digitalizing the entire customer experience. Right? So how retail businesses can leverage cloud service providers in their journey towards digitalization. And once we understand how cloud can help you out, we will try to understand what AWS is and how AWS will go ahead and help you in migrating your workloads to the cloud and then making those workloads available to your employees, the front-end web servers available to your customers, and to ensure customer experience at all time. And we will go ahead and we will finally talk about some reference architectures. So we'll see how some retail businesses are leveraging AWS cloud, what are the components they are using on the AWS cloud platform, and what were the challenges they had. And once they moved to the AWS, what all benefits they got, and were they able to overcome those challenges? This is what we'll be doing in our session for today. Let's go ahead and let's get started. And first of all, let's talk about how SMBs can digitize their workloads by moving on to a cloud service provider. So when you look at the digitalization part, there are three areas where you will be able to accelerate the growth of your business, especially if I talk about small and medium business perspective. So you will be able to reach your existing and new customers. You will be able to understand their requirements by analyzing the customer's past behavior. You'll be able to understand the customer needs, and you will also be able to fulfill the customer's need well ahead of time. Because to give you a key pointer here, we all have heard about customer churn. Acquiring a new customer and at the same time ensuring that we have got a customer who's with us from past 3-4 years and the customer is giving us repeat business. These two are entirely different things from cost perspective. Acquiring a new customer and then converting those customers into a loyal customer takes a lot of investment. But if you can ensure that your existing customers do not leave your platform, you have to ensure that you are able to predict well in advance what is the likelihood of customer leaving your platform. Maybe it can be any XYZ reason. So if you're able to understand that well in advance, you'll be able to stitch that specific loophole in time, and you will ensure that you're able to retain that customer, most probably by addressing the pain points. So when you talk about digitalization, the three major areas is first, you need to understand your existing customers. You need to understand that your new customers are able to go ahead and get the same experience as the past customers. You need to go ahead and showcase all the products on a single uniform platform. At the same time, when you talk about digitalization, are there any modern services, are there any modern capabilities which are available, which you can leverage and accelerate the workloads so that you're able to adhere to the customer traffic? Because customer traffic is not uniform all the time. If you look at the retail business especially, customer traffic will increase, will decrease based on the time of the year. So for example, if you're running a campaign, or if you're going ahead and if you are uh, going through a lean period, the customer traffic will differ. In a lean period, you will not have a lot of customers coming in, so a normal flow of the customers every time. But if you have a campaign running in, let's say, Black Friday sale, you can think of at least getting 2x, 3x more customers than your normal traffic, right? So when we talk about the modern capabilities which are there available, especially when you digitalize the workloads, we are trying to keep up with the pace of customer traffic. When I talk about a business, customer traffic is not uniform throughout the year. For example, if I run a Black Friday sale, I can expect 2x, 3x more customers hitting the platform. If my business is going through a lean period, then in that scenario, I may not have a lot of customers coming in. I should be able to implement elasticity. I should be able to have elasticity in my workloads. So if I'm expecting that there will be a lot of customers coming in, I should be able to horizontally scale out. If I think that I'm going through a lean period, I will not have a lot of customer traffic coming in, I should be able to scale in, that too horizontally. That's one of the requirements. The second is high availability and fault tolerance. It differs drastically, especially if you talk about your on-premises data centers, or if you talk about hosting the services in private cloud or maybe in public cloud. So when you talk about digitalization, you have three growth areas which you can go ahead and focus on, which will help you accelerate your growth. In today's session, we will focus on the third area, which is how you can leverage modern capabilities. And when I say modern capabilities, I'm talking about cloud being the digital enabler for your business. So let's focus on this third growth area and see what exactly you can expect when you digitalize your entire workloads. So let's go ahead and let's have a look at these 5 use cases. And based on these use cases, we will see how modern capabilities will help you out in all of these requirements. So the first one, if you see, it's eve of Diwali and there will be high traffic on your website. So we can expect a lot of customers hitting my platform. Is there a way I can go ahead and I can ensure that my customers do not leave my website before purchasing anything? I can go ahead and I can go with faster web hosting. So if you look at digital capabilities, the very first thing is faster web hosting. Second is tax season is approaching, and let's say I have lost access to my physical computer, or I do not have access to the receipts, so I do not have access to the bills, I do not have access to my tax statements from past year. Now, this is going to hamper my tax filing. Is there any way I can go and I can make use of modern capabilities to cater to this use case? So we have got disaster recovery available. We always say you always should keep multiple copies of data. You never rely on a single copy of data. Let it be for personal use. And if I talk about SMBs, disaster recovery plays a pivotal role. We need to ensure that we have got multiple data copies available at different places. Third use case is we have a lot of people who have a portable kind of job. So in majority of the cases, they are either working from a hotel or they are working from their homes. Right. While they are doing it, I also have to ensure that restricted documents, confidential documents are made available to my salespeople only when they require it. Plus, at the same time, I have to safeguard all of these documents as well. So how can a modern capability or how digitalization can help me out in here? we go ahead and we talk about workload migration. So you can go ahead and you can make use of lift and shift scenario. We call it as rehost, right? So rehost is you take your workload, do not make any changes to it, deploy it onto a cloud service provider. So you can think of migrating your ERP solutions, CRM solutions directly to cloud, any cloud service provider, and your salespeople will be able to access confidential and restricted documents whenever they need them to go further in the maybe contract signing or go further in uh, helping and supporting the customer. Fourth use case we have is we are anticipating higher demand for our manufactured goods. And this is happening this year. But we are not able to do capacity planning. We do not know how much we should produce, how much we should go ahead and transfer using the transport lines, right? So I need to do capacity planning. That's the main job I have in here. I can go in and I can have advanced analytics in place. So to do capacity planning, what I can do, I can look at my past data. Looking at the past data, I can draw patterns and I can understand the consumption model. Once I understand the consumption model, I can pre-plan the procurement. The last use case we have is customers are trying to contact my staff and my staff is too busy and the customers are not getting prompt responses, right? And this, I think everybody, including me, has encountered this somewhere in your interaction with your service providers. It can be mobile service provider, it can be internet service provider, it can be airlines as well. Sometimes we have to wait a lot before we can even get to a person who can help us out. And obviously, this will hamper customer experience. I will not be satisfied if my calls are not answered promptly. So I can go ahead and I can go with the digital engagement. And here comes the chatbots. Here comes the automated forms wherein customers can go ahead and specify the issue they have got. They can submit the form and somebody from my callback team will get back to the customer as soon as possible or whatever time frame customer has shared with us. So digital engagement is very important these days, folks. And I believe all of us have interacted with digital assistants, especially if I talk about banking organization. You visit any bank these days, you visit Kotak, you visit HDFC, any bank you visit, you will always find that they have a digital assistant. First, you get to the digital assistant. The digital assistant asks you questions. You need to go ahead and give the answers. And if they're able to help you out, they will go ahead and they will give you the documentation, right, for that specific support case. And if not, they will direct you to a live support personnel. So now we understand what all modern capabilities come pre-packaged with the digitalization. So we now know web hosting is available. We understand disaster recovery. It's of utmost importance, whether it is a small and medium business or it's an enterprise. We understand workload migration, especially ERP systems, CRM systems. We can move them to cloud service providers. And in majority of the cases, we will be doing a rehost in there. Advanced analytics, get to a consumption model, understand your consumption, understand what you have to plan for, do proper capacity planning, and finally, engage the customers digitally. So the customer's first point of contact should be a dynamic chatbot, which can, and the dynamic chatbot can ask multiple questions from the customers. If they have the answer in the documentation, they can go ahead and send that answer to the customer. If not, then they can go ahead and direct the customer to a support personnel. So digitalization gives you all of these capabilities. You can leverage these capabilities and you can keep up with the increased customer demand. And with a lot of competition happening these days, you'll be able to ensure that your customer experience is never hampered. This is about the capabilities you get with the digitalization. Now let's understand what is the market condition at this specific point of time. What are the market needs? What is the pattern which is prevailing, right? So first thing, by end of 2023, right, third-party cookies will be outdated. They'll be completely off the charts. So organizations, SMBs need to find out a way to have an in-house data solution. Second, customers now prefer a hybrid shopping approach. 80% of the customers still prefer going to a physical store, but this pattern is going to change. We have seen customers who have said that I love doing self-service. And I think all of you would have heard about Amazon Go as well. So Amazon Go is one of the stores we operate, and that is completely, I'll say, humanless. There are no humans involved. You just walk up to the store, you pick up the things you want, and you just check out. Complete self-service. Customers want that, and this is going to be the future. Hybrid shopping experience. So we need to ensure that there is a way which unifies physical store experience, offline store experience, or maybe customers going ahead and shopping from our online apps, right? So there are multiple things customers can go for. So we have to increase that capability, and we have to implement that capability with our solutions. At the same time, we have to ensure that we are following ethical commerce. So when I say ethical commerce, I am saying no hard selling. You can follow ethical commerce if you can have a product recommendation engine, a robust product recommendation engine, which can understand the customer's requirements, can understand what exactly customer has purchased in the past, and based on that can make recommendations to the customers that I think this is the product which you will like. Right. So product recommendation will play a pivotal role to ensure that you focus on ethical commerce. We need to understand the customer expectations well in advance. As I have already given an example of customer churn, if we are able to point out that this is the likelihood of a specific customer leaving our platform, we can go ahead and we can either offer complimentary packages to the customer. We can try to hear out the customer completely, understand what was the challenge which is forcing the customer to go ahead and move away from the cloud, or move away from your solution, right? Or move away from your portal, right? So we need to understand that. And if you're able to go ahead and understand that well in advance, you will ensure that your customers return back and those customers give you repeat business. There is a lot of buzz going on these days in the industry, and that buzz is about artificial intelligence and machine learning. The reason why AI is taking over the entire market is because using AI, you can understand the patterns in your data. So I will have a lot of customer purchase patterns with me. I will have a lot of data, and not only purchase patterns, customer support calls as well. Customers will call you for sure. You will have that record with you. You will have that entire data set. If a customer, let's say, for example, if a customer calls you and customer has to get rerouted 4 times before they get to a personnel who can resolve their issue, customer satisfaction will go for a toss. Customer will say that, yes, this specific retail shop is offering me world-class products, but I can't get support on those products whenever I need. So we need to ensure that we are able to minimize that reroute happening for that customer as much as we can. Ideally, the customer should get connected to the personnel who can resolve the problem in first shot itself. So if we can add intelligence to all of this, we can add intelligence to our physical stores, wherein we can have self-checkout counters, right? We can have a self-check counters wherein after the billing happens, a quick check happens through the barcode of the products to understand, yes, customer has paid for the same exact items, and then faster checkout, right? So we need to add this intelligence, and this intelligence will only be possible if we are able to incorporate artificial intelligence and machine learning into our solutions. So this is the state of the market as of now. This is where the market is running, and this is what exactly you will see prevailing in the small and medium business sector, especially in the retail sector these days. Every business has got certain requirements. There are some needs for SMBs, and if you look at it from retail perspective, you have customers shopping at multiple places. You have customers shopping at the physical store, right? Maybe you'll have offline store, maybe in remote locations. So a small store which is connected to a mother physical store at the back end. You have an application which customers can download on their mobile phones and can do shopping. So there are multiple places your customers are interacting with your platform, and they are going ahead and they are purchasing goods or services. we need to get a 360-degree customer view. So we need to go ahead and we need to put all of this together in one dashboard to understand the customer's purchase patterns, customer requirements. We need to gain end-to-end visibility. So when I say end-to-end visibility, right through the product procurement all the way to the customer purchasing that specific product. So from where exactly the product is procured, then how fast it can come to my warehouse, then from the warehouse, how fast it can go to a shelf, and then from the shelf, how fast customers will be purchasing it. So end-to-end customer visibility. We need to ensure that risk and compliance is always taken care of. Because when I talk about retail industry, we are always interacting with PII. We are interacting with the protected information of our customers, like customer's first name, last name, customer address, customer phone number, all of these things, customers' credit card details. Especially, there is a lot of transitioning happening these days when customers prefer shopping through an app. So when they shop through the app, they will obviously go ahead and pay for the goods they have purchased, and they will pay it either by a debit card or by a credit card, or may use net banking. UPI payment are hit these days, so they may use UPI payments. We need to ensure that all of this PII is safeguarded, because if this PII gets leaked, customers will lose trust. The time customers lose trust in a business, from that time, it's a downfall. So we have to ensure risk and compliance. And as I said earlier, we also have to adhere to the ethical commerce, ensuring that we are not forcing our products to the customers. The second most important requirement is improve the insights. How can I improve the insights? I have to ensure that product availability is there. Always, you would have seen this happening in retail sector, folks, that there are some products which are hot property. Everybody wants to own them. I'll give you a very good example. Let's take an example of an iPad. Whenever there's a new version of iPad coming in, so whenever Apple goes ahead and Apple releases that this is the new iPad, this is, let's say, version 6 of the iPad coming in, people go ahead and people try to shop for that well in advance. They also do pre-booking, right? The same thing happens with a car. Let's say there is a new car coming in, and let's say that car is powered with artificial intelligence, right? So people go ahead and people try to do pre-booking for that. People try to own that product. So whenever there's a hot product, we have to ensure that we have got the product availability. If we don't have that, the customers will not feel good about it. They wanted to own the product. They wanted to give us business, but since the product was not available, we were not able to offer it to our customers. So we have to ensure that product availability is always there, and products get delivered to the shelf from where customers can pick it up at a fast pace. Being a retail business, I should always be thinking about my customers. I should always be thinking about my business drivers. So for me, the business drivers can be agility. For me, the business driver can be ensuring that I increase my footprint, let's say by 10% year on year. So if I have to focus on my business drivers, I'll have to forget about IT. I'll have to ensure that I do not spend a lot of time and investment on managing the systems, the point of sale systems, the servers, the warehouse servers, all of those things. So I have to enable IT transformation. I need to move from a capital expenditure approach towards a variable expenditure approach. Improve employee engagement. Our employees should not be working in silos. There are different departments. You've got billing, you have got warehouse department, right? So all the employees have got different departments. They shouldn't be working in silos. They should be interacting with each other. So we need to find out a platform, a common platform where all of the employees can come on board and share their ideas. AI, ML enhanced workflows. We have to design dynamic chatbots. We have to ensure that we have got product recommendation in place. We should also use forecasting. We should be able to forecast the usage of a product well in advance, and then we can ensure that it's always in stock. Right? Implement automation and robotics, especially in the packaging line. Right. So if you are going and if you are delivering the products to your customer's your customer's home, right, customer's door, you have to ensure that you go ahead and you are able to use automation in there rather than a manual or humans going ahead and packaging the products. You would have heard about Amazon. Amazon, if I talk about packaging, it is completely automated with the help of robotics. Third is optimizing customer experience. If I talk about optimizing customer experience, we have to ensure our physical stores, our online stores are all connected together. Customers can shop from anywhere. We have to ensure that all of that data flows somewhere at a common place so that you have access to it. And since you will have access to this data, you can give end-to-end personalization to your customer. Customers love being pampered. Customers love that or customers love to understand that the business cares about them, right? So if you are able to collect the data at one place, you'll be able to do product recommendations. You'll be able to understand customers' likes and dislikes, and you will ensure that customer always gets a wow experience from your sender. These are few of the important things which SMBs, especially from retail sector, are looking for. These are their market needs. This is what retail SMBs are looking for. And these are, you can say, these are few of the concern areas they have got. How can we resolve this concern areas with the digitalization? Let's go ahead and let's try to understand that in detail. So how can cloud benefit your retail business? We talked about the market needs. We know the modern capabilities which digitalization gives us, right? How cloud will bring all of these things together. So what digitalization modern capabilities cloud offers me, and now we know about our needs. How can these needs be fulfilled by this cloud digitalization? Let's go ahead and let's see that in action. So from a traditional SMB, we need to transition towards a digital SMB. So when I say digital SMB, I'm talking about moving our workloads towards a cloud service provider. So the first thing is we need to have a detailed IT portfolio. We need to understand what all different services we are giving to our customers, where these services are hosted, and then how these services will be moved to cloud. So once you move the services to cloud, the foremost important component for you will be e-commerce. E-commerce is where your customers interact. So we have to ensure that the e-commerce is highly available. Right? We have to go ahead and we have to cater to our business drivers rather than going ahead and talking about IT. So we need to ensure that our productivity is increased, and we have to ensure that our infrastructure solutions are also taken care of. So when I say infrastructure solution, I can talk about supply chain, I can talk about data warehousing, and then all the data which I have accumulated from these many past years, I should be able to go ahead and perform analytics on that. I should be able to go ahead and get patterns out of it. I should be able to understand my consumption model. And one more very important use case which I can talk about here is usage of IoT. Think of a scenario, folks, that I'm a retail SMB and my goods get delivered from a specific location. So let's take that. Let's say I get my goods delivered from Delhi. So Delhi is the main center where the goods are manufactured, and these goods are then transported to all the different stores I have across India. Right. So I may have got 15, 20, 25 stores. That depends on the customer's requirements and the business footprint. When this product is in shipment, which means it is getting delivered from the manufacturing center to all of these different stores, I should be able to track its location, where exactly the product is, and what is the tentative time for that product to reach the stores. I can have IoT sensors, IoT devices on all the shipment areas which are there. Like I may be using railroad, I may be using road transport, right? Or I may be using waterways, anything. So all of these different types of transportation means I use, I can have IoT sensors in there, and those IoT sensors can feed data to my standard IoT core. And from there, I can perform analysis and I can see what is the likelihood of my product getting delayed if, let's say, there is a outbreak of law and order somewhere, or let's say if it's monsoon season and I use waterways for transportation, right? That may go ahead and that may hamper the delivery of the products, right? So I can go ahead and I can make use of IoT over there to go ahead and predict all of this well in advance so that I can be well prepared. So from a traditional SMB, if you move towards a digital SMB, these are few of the areas we have to go ahead and have a look at, and we have to revolutionize these areas. How we'll be able to do this? We will be able to do this by making use of cloud computing. Forget about managing data centers. Make use of cloud computing. So when I talk about cloud computing, this is on-demand delivery of services. Think of an old data center, folks. If I talk about our on-premises data center, we have to ensure that we have got our servers in place. And when I talk about servers, I have worked as a data center operative, and I know how much time it takes for a server to be fully functional. From the IT team, I will first of all go ahead and set up a request that I need a rack server. That request will go to the procurement team. Procurement team will check whether I actually need it or not. Once it is decided, then the procurement team will approve that request. Then it will go to the delivery team. Delivery team will generate a PO, and then the delivery team will get the rack server delivered from the vendor. Then it will again go to the IT team. IT team will take the final sign off from the finance team. Then they will do rack and stack of that rack server, and then they will go ahead and install the operating system. Generally takes 3 to 4 months for the server to be only racked and stacked into a rack. After that, you will install the operating system, make it fully functional. This used to take time. In today's fast world, especially from retail SMB perspective, I need to have faster product release life cycles, which means whatever infrastructure I need, that infrastructure should be available to me on demand. That is where cloud computing comes into play. Cloud computing offers all of these services, infrastructure, platform, software, as on-demand services. You can get these services whenever you need, and you will only pay for the time you are using it. So pay as you go model. That's what cloud computing is all about. You follow a pay as you go model. So you go to any cloud service provider, this is what you will get: on-demand delivery of IT services, and you will follow a pay as you go model. So from a capital expenditure approach, you have now transitioned towards variable expenditure, which will obviously help you reduce your cost drastically, and it will help you get agility in your business. So when I say agility, I'm talking about getting faster product release life cycles. So when I put cloud and I take all the needs which I had, right? So when we discussed about the SMB needs, I have those needs, and I take cloud and try to go ahead and put these needs in there. How cloud service providers can help me out. If I talk about optimizing my operations, I can go ahead and I can automate supply chains. I can have continuous innovation using robotics and ML. As I said, I can go ahead and I can completely automate my shipment. I can have robotic arms going ahead and performing the packaging, and automation checks for any product which is faulty and takes it completely out of the line. I can go ahead and I can do all of that using a cloud service provider. And if you look at AWS, and if I talk about robotics, you have got Sage, you have got AWS RoboMaker. So RoboMaker is there, which will help you go ahead and implement robotics. If I talk about implementing machine learning, you have got Amazon SageMaker. Amazon SageMaker helps you create your models from scratch and then productionalize them. Go ahead and deploy them into the productions. For product recommendation, we did discuss about product recommendation. We have got Amazon Personalize. The second need we had was improve insights, how cloud can help me out in there. So if you talk about cloud can go ahead and can help you gain intelligence from the data which you have accumulated. You can go ahead and you can understand your competitors well, and you can see what all services they have to offer, and then you can match your products with that. You can, and if you're able to do that, you will be able to increase customer influence, and it will all have a direct impact on your revenue. So how can you perform analytics using AWS? AWS offers Elastic MapReduce. So you have got EMR, which is used for data analytics, which is again a managed Hadoop cluster. Now, folks, sometimes you will be getting unstructured data. Think of IoT devices. IoT devices will send JSON-based files, right? For unstructured data, semi-structured data, I can make use of AWS Glue, which is going to go ahead and automatically discover the schema. So it's an extract, transform, load solution. Visualization. We have used multiple tools for visualization till now. Kibana is pretty widely used. ELK stack, right? Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana. This is used. For AWS, we give you Amazon QuickSight, which helps you with visualizations, create dashboards. And then for retail specific requirements, AWS is offering multiple services. And that's the reason why you will see that there is a broad ecosystem of AWS services, which is available to the customers. Finally, the third need, which we discussed about, was optimizing the customer experience. We have got Sumerian over here. So if I talk about Sumerian offers you AR/VR solutions, so augmented and virtual reality. You can have one single solution for all your contact center needs. That's Amazon Connect. And Amazon Connect also comes with a solution through which you can go and you can do transcribing. So all the customer calls which you have received, those can be transcribed, right? So these are a few of the solutions which AWS offers you. As a whole, cloud will be able to go and give you this experience because they have got those custom made solutions available as services. So this is where cloud sits in. This is how exactly cloud will help you meet the needs which we discussed earlier. And from AWS perspective, these are few of the services which will help you go ahead and take on these challenges head on. Now, when you start thinking about digitalization, I, as a retail SMB, have decided that yes, digitalization is what I need. What should be my roadmap? So you first start with business goals. So when I say business goals, you first understand what are your business drivers, what are you trying to achieve. So I may be looking at the growth in revenue. I may go ahead and want to increase the bottom line profit. So we all know revenue and profit is different, right? So I want to either increase the top line revenue or I want to increase the profit margin. I want to experiment in newer markets. So previously I was working only in northern part of the India. Now I want to go with the southern part as well, right? I want to go ahead and get my employees out of the silos. So maybe I'm trying to implement a DevOps kind of culture so my employees can interact with each other from different departments and have efficient cross product assistance. So being a retail SMB, the first thing which we need to do is understand our business drivers. What business drivers are compelling me for digitalization? Why will I do digitalization? Once you understand your business drivers, you need to weigh them. When I say weighing them, I'm talking about you need to understand what will be your key performance indicator. So I may be looking at 27% growth in top line revenue. I want to double my profit. I want to have 65% increase in access to newer markets. And I want to increase employee collaboration by 8.7 times, right? So this is just an example. First, you identify your business goals, what business goals you are planning to achieve, and then you weigh those goals. You specify that based on these goals, what will be the success criteria. So if I do digitalization, I should see 2x increase in my profit, for example, right? So you specify your business goals and then you define the success criteria. Once you have done that, once you've defined the success criteria, you start with the digitalization part. And when you start with the digitalization part, you have to go and you have to ponder upon certain important factors. First is you are doing digitalization, so you are going away from on-premises data center, right? So why exactly on-premises data center is different from a cloud service provider? So when I talk about a cloud service provider, you are getting everything on demand. So variable expenditure. Here, you are going with straight away capital investment. If I talk about on-premises data center, in on-premises data center, you have to first go ahead and procure a site. Over there, you will build your data center. And let me give you a trivia fact, folks. Data center is not only about servers. It is all about different amenities you give in the data center. For example, you need to have diesel generators on standby for backup power. You need to have HVAC solutions, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. You need to have fire suppressants. So all of this is also cost. But if you look at a cloud service provider, no, you don't have to worry about all this because the cloud service provider maintains the data center on your behalf. You will have vivid requirements from server perspective, folks. I will have my front-end web servers. I will also do data analytics. I might be running machine learning. So different compute requirements, different storage requirements. In an on-premises data center, that experimentation is limited because all of that is investment. You have to, first of all, straight away invest in a server. So let's say if I need a server with more GPU power, I will go ahead and I will have to invest in solutions like NVIDIA, AMD, right? These kind of things. If I talk about cloud service provider, you can go ahead and you can get that as a service. So let's say today I want to use a GPU based instance. I can go ahead and I can get it within seconds and I can start working onto it. In on-premises, your IT people are responsible for management of the resources. In AWS, you are not owning any data center. It's the job of the AWS to manage it on your behalf. So AWS is just an example coming from a cloud service provider perspective. And since you are getting everything on demand, you have more experimentation power. You can experiment more frequently. You can tear down the infrastructure if you don't need it. So digitalization basically gives you multiple benefits. And if you look at it from AWS perspective, you can go and you can get a lot of benefits from the different services we have offer, from the footprint which AWS has got worldwide. So if you look at the digitalization benefits, first thing is expedite time to market and expand globally. This means, folks, we have got multiple regions available worldwide. So if in case, let's say you want to invest or you want to include people from United States and you want to ensure that the customers from United States also interact with your services, you can use our data center situated in United States. You want to venture into Middle East region, you can go and you can do that. You want to venture into Australia, you can go and you can do that, because we already have our data centers available in there. So you'll be able to provide your services at an unprecedented faster pace. That's the first benefit you get. Reduce IT cost and scale your resources. AWS follows a pay-as-you-go model, folks. So when I say pay-as-you-go model, you will only pay for the services when you use them. Think of it from on-premises perspective. In on-premises, folks, even if you don't use the server, you still have to maintain that server because it is a resource in your data center. But here in AWS, you don't own servers. You get servers for usage, you use them, and then you can go ahead and you can stop using them. The time you stop using the server, you stop incurring cost onto it, right? So you follow a pay-as-you-go model. You can go and you can go with contracts as well. So especially for compute, I can go with reserved instances. So let's say if I need a web server running 24/7, I can go and I can reserve it for complete 1 year, that for 1 year, I will use this specific web server 24/7. You will get a lot of discount in there as well. You can get up to 72% of discount in there if in case you go and you go with this long-term commitment. And then there are certain services in AWS, folks, which follow a tiered costing approach. The more you use them, the less you have to pay. So you will be able to reduce IT cost and you will be able to scale out your resources whenever you feel like. Drive real-time customer insights and business intelligence. We talked about EMR. That's an offering from AWS. You can make use of Elastic MapReduce. You can make use of Amazon Personalize, which is powered by machine learning. So you can do product recommendations. You can go ahead and you can create next generation loyalty programs. You can understand your customers' behavior. You can understand how your specific store is performing, right? And then you can make those business decisions, right? Another benefit which you get is you can create engaging experiences. So we went ahead and we talked about creating chatbots, right? So you can have chatbots. You can go ahead and you can make use of Amazon Contact Center, which will be one stop shop wherein all of the customer calls will be handled, and all of that coming at a lower pace. You can go and you can create your own loyalty programs and you can offer them on the fly because the services are available to be used whenever you need them, right? You can automate your IT processes. So you can automate everything through code. For example, let's say if I want to implement my IT infrastructure, I can make use of CloudFormation. So folks, CloudFormation is a service in AWS. It's just like Terraform. You can write your entire infrastructure into a code. So let's say I want to implement network. I want to implement compute. I want to implement storage. I don't want to do it manually. In today's world, you don't do anything manually. You do it through code. You can automate all of those business operations. You can automate your IT processes. And then the most important thing, securing and protecting your data. So securing the data at rest, securing the data in transit. AWS offers you multiple services to go ahead and cater to this. You can have SSL offloading. You can have data encryption at rest using SHA-256 hashing algorithm. So you can make use of AWS KMS as well for data encryption. All of these benefits are given to you by AWS itself. And finally, since all of these benefits are coming to you from AWS, you can create an ecosystem where your different employee departments can work together. You can take example of Amazon Workspaces. So when I say Amazon Workspaces, folks, this is a virtual environment given to you. So if you remember, we used to implement VDIs, virtual desktop interfaces, for our employees to work. But with Amazon Workspaces, you can create desktops for your employees and you can offer them on the fly. Until unless employees using it, you'll be billed. The time you destroy that workspace, there will be no billing together. So you can bring computing collaboration tools together, right? So you can have a Amazon WorkLink, which is a secure mobile access for your employees. So you will be able to increase CPA, cross-product assistance, between your different employee departments. This is how cloud will go ahead and help you with the digitalization. And when you do digitalization of your SMB, these are the benefits which you will get. If I talk about AWS especially, AWS was born to support retail. Why? Amazon is one of the users of AWS as well, folks. So Amazon is using AWS for all their infrastructure, for all their data center needs at the back end, and they are utilizing AWS services to go ahead and handle their e-commerce business. So AWS can go ahead and can help you get smart store. So when I say smart store, here you can go ahead and you can have personalized customer recommendations. You can go ahead and you can have faster product release life cycles. You can automate IT processes, right? Digital commerce, cost-effective cloud services are there. So you can make use of cost-effective cloud services like web servers, EC2 instances, Elastic Compute Cloud. You can provision your resources and you can go ahead and you can have your web server up and running in a minimum possible time. Intelligent supply chain using IoT devices, folks. You can go and you can track your entire supply chain. You can also get consumption model, right? Customer engagement. There will be one single place where you will get all the data. You can go ahead and you can unify your physical stores, your online stores together, get a 360-degree holistic view of your customer requirements and improve customer experience. Merchandising and planning. You can understand your customer behaviors and preferences, and then you can go and you can customize the assortments. You can go and you can also have forecasting in place, or time series forecasting can be done. AWS offers you cloud services, managed data center, so it gives you a drastic IT transformation happening in your organization. So you don't have to worry about managing the servers anymore. You don't have to worry about investing time, effort, and investment in maintaining all those data centers. You get everything at a lower cost and you get it with a low latency as well. And we are developing innovative compute solutions almost every year, right? So there are new services coming every year. So AWS was born to help in retail, and then it got extended to more than 190 countries, right? So as retail SMB, what will be a journey? We now know a little bit about AWS. So what will be a journey? First is you go ahead and you understand your business drivers, which we talked about. You have a success criteria. You start migration. So when I talk about migration, you move to AWS Cloud. Now, folks, once you move to AWS Cloud, that does not mean that you will see reduction in cost. You will see everything working the way you want it. After migration, you need to modernize, which means you need to go and you need to have continuous monitoring in place. You need to understand your consumption model. You need to optimize the services. Once you do that, you will see that slowly and gradually the cost comes down. And in today's world, folks, we are moving away from monolithic application architecture towards a microservices-based architecture, right? So how you can have microservices working for you, you can go and you can have a look at that. Visibility, right? So you can go and you can create multiple reports, like I want to have visibility in my inventory. I want to go ahead and have visibility to all the customer data, let's say demographic data, right? Let's say you have got a global application, right? So you can host your web servers at one place. For example, you can host your web servers in Mumbai region. You can host your web servers in, let's say, America, one of the regions in America. But let's say if your users are global, you can't host your web servers everywhere. There comes the usage of CDNs, Content Delivery Network. So you would have heard about Akamai, you would have heard about Cloudflare. Just like that, we have got CloudFront, which we can make use of. So you can have globally present application. You can go ahead and you can have least latency for your customers, right? So you can go ahead and you can get all those details. You can bring the store more closer to your customers, right? Especially through social channels, mobile channels, right? All of those different things. So this is how exactly your journey should be constructed, all the way from migration to modernize and then streamlining the workloads. A quick checklist. So we'll take a pause in here, folks, and we will understand what we have covered till now. So first, we started what is the state of the retail market? What are the challenges and needs retail industry is facing, especially from SMB perspective? How digitalization helps resolve these challenges. And when I say digitalization, we are talking about cloud. So digitalization, cloud go hand in hand. So we understood how cloud can solve all of these challenges. And then we saw one of the solutions as AWS. So how AWS can fit in and can help us digitalize our SMB. So this is a quick recap of what we have learned. Let's go ahead and let's proceed further and let's talk about why AWS. So now we know what is the market trend. We know our needs. We know the journey, how we should start. We know how digitalization will help us cater to these needs. Let's talk about AWS, where AWS fits in, why we are saying that cloud service providers have created a boon in the SMB retail sector. And especially if I talk about AWS, we have got a lot of customers using AWS for their retail solutions. So first thing, AWS has got a mission for SMBs. That is, we want to empower SMBs so that they can innovate and scale their business. So they focus more on business drivers and then be able to innovate throughout, right? They should be able to horizontally scale out, scale in. So they should be able to scale their businesses as well. So that's the AWS SMB mission. We want to empower every SMB to go ahead and do this. So how AWS ensures that? We ensure it with the help of our services, with the help of our presence. So we have got Amazon Workspaces, which are again desktops which you can give to your employees. And then you have got AppStream, wherein you can go and you can have non-persistent applications, the solutions which you do not need on a regular basis. So these are a few of the services which will ensure that you have got workforce continuity, which means you have got a CPA, a cross-product assistance model deployed. So AWS services are at the core of innovation. Amazon and AWS, they work together. For example, if I talk about Amazon, Amazon started as an online data store, and then we went ahead and we started using AWS services. So Amazon uses AWS services quite a lot, right? So if I talk about Amazon, Amazon was not able to keep up with the customer pace. We were not able to handle the traffic which was coming in from our customers, and we needed something which gave us elasticity, high availability, and fault tolerance. AWS gave that to us. Using AWS services, we were able to scale out in minimum possible time. We were able to automate the shipment lines. We were able to go ahead and get insights, and we were able to go ahead and perform product recommendations as well. So Amazon had challenges. AWS resolved those challenges. So when I talk about AWS, AWS offers you multiple solutions. Let it be from platform breadth and depth. So when I say platform breadth and depth, I'm talking about our presence globally, the number of services which we have. AWS offers you cost savings and flexibility. So using AWS, folks, you can go and you can have cost savings. You can follow a pay-as-you-go model. Agility and elasticity. You can scale out and scale in based on the customer demand. Spin up servers within a matter of minutes. So go global in minutes. And enterprise class security, because AWS is complying with some global compliance programs. For example, ISO 27017, ISO 27018, PCI DSS. These are a few of the compliance which AWS already adheres to. So we'll go through these points one by one and we'll try to understand them in detail. So when I talk about platform breadth and depth, 26 regions. So when I say regions, folks, these are geographically dispersed locations, and these are clusters of data centers working together. Within these 26 regions, we have got 84 availability zones, which are again clusters of data center, but availability zones are connected to each other, but they're isolated from failures. So if there is an earthquake hitting one availability zone in a region, the other availability zone will never be down. You have got something that's known as local zone. So if you have got single digit millisecond latency based applications, you can make use of local zones. If you have got applications working over 5G networks, you have got wavelength zones. We have got 8 more regions coming in. we have got 110 direct connect locations, 108 direct connect locations. So folks, 108 direct connect location is wherein you can have lease line connectivity between your on-premises and your AWS region. All right. So if you go ahead and if you look at our regions, we have got 2x more regions than the next largest cloud provider, right? And we are available in 245 countries and territories, which means we are offering our services to 245 countries and territories. Right? So this is the platform breadth and depth we have. And let me tell you that we have got more than 200 fully featured services on offering. Cost savings. If you are planning to move on to AWS, you can make use of free tier, folks. Free tier is wherein you can get 750 hours of compute per month free if you go and if you use a specific instance type. You get 1 GB of capacity available on QuickSight, absolutely free. 5 GB of storage on S3, absolutely free. 750 hours of database, relational database, which is RDS per month if you use a dbt2 micro instance. So if you want to do experimentation, you have got free tier. So you'll be able to do cost savings. You will not have to invest anything in case you want to run POCs. You can make use of free tier, and there are a lot of services which are available absolutely free of cost. Pricing calculator. This used to be a challenge, folks, in on-premises data center, that I want to host a solution, but I don't know how much costing I will have to incur. But with AWS, you can make use of pricing calculator. So you can specify in pricing calculator that I want to use EC2 instance, I want to use S3, I want to use a load balancer. I want to use it in this region and I will use it for, let's say, 1 month, right? You can get an estimate. So before you even host the service, you can get an estimate to understand this is how much I will be spending. And then you can match it up with the budgeting sessions, which you'll have with your financial team. So you can get an estimate before you even start using the service using pricing calculator. Then for agility and elasticity, folks, there are 3 different pillars to it. If I talk about application agility, you can have a completely automated CI/CD pipeline. You all would have heard about DevOps. So we are going ahead and we are bringing developers and infrastructure teams together. So you need a repository to store your source code. You need a build server which will package the source code, and then you need deployment services. So application agility is given to you by AWS through code commit, code build, and code deploy. Infrastructure agility, you can scale out whenever you feel like using auto scaling. So auto scaling is one of our service which gives horizontal scale out options and horizontal scale in options. And then you can also do innovation. So when I say innovations, folks, microservices. So decomposing your applications into containers, running your applications on containers, all right? Do not manage your front end API servers. API gateway gives you that functionality. Use SageMaker for machine learning. These are few of the innovations which you can do in order to go ahead and decompose your monolithic architecture. So agility and elasticity is again one of the benefits which AWS gives you. Go global in minutes. As I said, over 200 fully featured services. So you will find service for blockchain, you will find services for compute, you will find services for containers. So when I say containers, folks, Dockers and Kubernetes both are supported. Migration, we offer our help for migration. You can migrate your servers, you can migrate your data. In case you want to download data from a satellite, maybe let's say you want to go ahead and you want to understand the weather pattern in a specific area before you even think of opening a store over there, because you may be going ahead and you may be your mode of business is woolens majorly, but let's say you want to introduce your apparel line into an area where winters are not prevalent. So you might have to make that slight change. So you can go and you can get satellite data, you can request data to be downloaded from specific satellites which are available. You can download the data, you can do the analytics. You also have quantum technology supported. So you have got quantum computers available on demand through AWS. You can go ahead and you can get them as well. So a broad service portfolio, whatever you will be using in your organization, majority of the times you will find a solution of that in AWS. And then we have got enterprise class security. We take security very seriously. We always say that security is a day zero job. So that means first we have to be very specific about the security when we talk about who will be responsible for what. So we specifically say AWS is responsible for security of the cloud. So when I say security of the cloud, I'm talking about security of our data centers, using NIST 800 guidelines for decommissioning the storage and so on, ensuring the security of our foundational services. Customer, on the other hand, will be responsible for security in the cloud. So ensuring data is encrypted at rest, ensuring that you deploy firewall solutions, ensuring that you have your network being deployed with layer 3 firewalls, ensuring that you are able to patch your operating systems from time to time, right? That's what enterprise class security is all about. We take security seriously, and we say that security of the cloud is our responsibility. Security in the cloud, customers will be responsible for that. Wherever there is a concern, feel free to get in touch with AWS support. Let's have a look at a case study now. We have talked a lot about AWS, what it offers, right? How exactly it will go ahead and fulfill the needs which we discussed. Is there any customer who used AWS, especially from the retail sector, and were they able to go ahead and reap the benefits which AWS says they offer, right? So we bring you a case study of CDO, folks. So CDO is a retail business which is actually into food, right? So they're into customer food industry. They make available a lot of different types of sauces, right? Breads, bakery, right? Beef patties, all of these different things, right? So CDO is one of the customer which went ahead and used AWS. First of all, let's go and let's have a look at the challenges. They had on-premises legacy system, which means an on-premises data center, folks, which was more than 10 years old. And it's 10 years. It was becoming very difficult for them to manage it. Aging hardware, because hardware has got a life cycle. You can't use hardware forever. You need to change the hardware. So aging hardware will always come with performance issues. Since it was old hardware, downtime will come with it. So once downtime happens, CDO was taking almost somewhere around 8 hours to restore it back, which is again hitting customer experience. Your service is not available to your customer for these many hours. This shouldn't happen in today's fast-paced world. And since it's an on-premises data center, costing. So what they decided, CDO decided that they will move aggressively to AWS using lift and shift. So folks, when I talk about migrating to AWS, lift and shift is the most aggressive and fastest way of moving your workloads to cloud. So in lift and shift, folks, you take your solution. Let's say I've got an Apache web server. I take it. I do not make any changes to it. I host it as is by spinning up a server on AWS. So CDO performed a lift and shift of their warehouse management system. So this is what they had. Warehouse management system was there. On-premises servers, they did a rehost. So folks, another word for lift and shift is rehost. So if you look at it from migration strategy perspective, it's rehost. So they did lift and shift, hosted their servers on EC2 instances. These EC2 instances were in auto scaling group. So horizontal scale out, scale in, and they distributed traffic to these EC2 instances using Elastic Load Balancer. Then there were a few other services as well, which they were using. They used VPC. So VPC is virtual private cloud, folks, your own isolated network in AWS. And they were using Elastic Block Store, which is a SAN storage available in AWS. These are the services they used for rehosting. And this is what they got. With on-premises, their application downtime was almost 2 times per week. AWS, no downtime. Scan processing time per box, 10 seconds to 3 minutes, drastically reduced to 3 seconds to 4 seconds. IT case resolution time, how much time they took to resolve a case, 150 days was there with on-premises legacy. With AWS, it's mere 1 day. So the challenges, and this is what we have in numbers. So these were the challenges in numbers, and this is how AWS resolved it. And these are the numbers you get with AWS. So CDO decided their journey will be lift and shift, and then they moved to AWS and they saw this transition happening. This is their entire fully migrated warehouse management system to AWS cloud. So as I said, They are using load balancer and EC2 instances. They were using SAP solutions as well, folks. So SAP as well, they migrated to EC2 instances. Data lake is very important. Nowadays, we use data lake a lot. So in AWS, you can have data lake in the form of Amazon S3. And then there were processing analytics, folks. So you have got EMR, Redshift, Athena, right? You have for security, identity, and compliance, they are using Macie. So folks, Macie is data classification tool. You can go and you can classify PII, right? You have KMS, AWS KMS can go ahead and can help you perform data encryption at rest. And then for cost management, folks, you can create budgets, you can have Cost Explorer, all of those different things. This is their fully migrated core application to AWS Cloud. So this is one of the use case, folks, wherein they leveraged AWS Cloud and the benefits they got. Let's go and let's have a look at a few more reference architectures. So folks, we will not do a case study now. We will just have a look at some reference architectures from few organizations. So first, whenever I talk about moving on to AWS and hosting your architecture, this is the framework you have to follow, folks. So you will have to, first of all, understand the cloud core services. So you have got storage, compute, network, then retail cloud services, forecasting, personalization, order management, loyalty. This is what you need, right? So you will go ahead and you will try to find out the services which are available with AWS and how these services map to the retail needs, right? So you need to follow this framework, and following this framework, these are the kind of architectures you will get. So mergers and acquisition readiness, this is from the well-architected framework tool. So here you can see that the AWS environment, which was used by a previous organization, was with AWS organizations. So they had multiple accounts in a hierarchy. When that account got acquired, this is the infrastructure they have gone for. So to your left-hand side, if you see, you will find the acquirer AWS environment wherein they have a deployed control tower. So folks, AWS Control Tower is an end-to-end account management solution. So you will always create multiple AWS accounts because you may want to isolate different departments. You might want to isolate them for billing, right? So you will use Control Tower for that. So this is the end architecture they had. They were using Control Tower. They deployed SCP. So service control policies, folks, are used to restrict access to your accounts. And for monitoring, they had a central logging account. So they went with Control Tower. So folks, in case you have to handle multiple AWS accounts together, it is advisable you make use of AWS Control Tower. Epic Games are using virtual productions line using this infrastructure, right? So what exactly happens? Their users get connected to the AWS environment using OpenVPN solution, which is AWS Client VPN. They have got their Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine is one of the engines they use for their virtual productions, hosted on EC2 instances, and they are using a FSx shareable file system, right? All of these are AWS native services. And for authentication and authorization, folks, they are using AWS Directory Service, right? So this is their infrastructure wherein core AWS services are used, and they have deployed it in multiple availability zones. So folks, remember, for high availability, your solutions, your servers should be deployed in multiple availability zones. One more example we have is of NISA Retail. So NISA Retail is wherein they have got a very simple setup, folks. They have got their mobile applications, they interact with EC2 instances. These EC2 instances, they cache items to Amazon S3, and customer related data is stored in Amazon DynamoDB. So a very simple architecture, EC2 instances for all of their server requirements. So let it be their data access server, let it be their cache servers, let it be their mobile API servers. All of that is being used for EC2 instances. And then they are moving it to S3 and DynamoDB for data management. So caching the static items, S3, mobile application data, Amazon DynamoDB. These are a few of the mobile architectures we have. So in this second stage of our presentation, we went ahead and we had a look at AWS, why AWS is the preferred solution for SMBs, retail SMBs for digitalization, because we have got a pretty robust and crystal clear mission that we want to go ahead and have every SMB innovate in their business and scale. We talked about the AWS benefits you get when you go and you try to use it for your digitalization journey. So all the retail needs are catered by AWS. How AWS caters it, we went through a case study of CDO, and we went ahead and we also talked about some reference architectures. Now, folks, there are certain case studies which are available. So these are the URLs for different verticals. So aerospace, agriculture, CPG, life sciences, healthcare, oil and gas, retail, telecommunication. And this is available in our notes as well. We have got few videos as well, which you can watch. So there is one video which I will go ahead and which I will play, right? So this is, again, one of the retail stores available in one of the countries. River Island as well as one of the stores. Let's go and let's have a look at the River Island video, and let's see how exactly they used AWS for the digitalization and what are the benefits they got. So here we go.
Some of the key challenges in the retail space, specifically bricks and mortars, we all have infrastructure that's probably 15 plus years old. A lot of our competitors have brand new infrastructure ways of working and new systems. So one of the things we had to overcome to get the speed on our organization was to rebuild our infrastructure so that we could start to deploy new technologies more rapidly. River Island is a fashion brand. It's a fast fashion brand. The brand itself, then River Island, it was morphed into 30 years ago. The business is family owned. Bernard Lewis, who started the business in that bomb crater, is still with the business along with the rest of his family. We're 300 stores. We do franchise, we do retail, we do concessions, we do wholesale, and we have a huge digital business. So we really touch all kinds of different parts of retail. Before we began this whole process, this whole transformation of River Island, we did ask that question, why do we need to go to the cloud? And the simple answer to that was technology is moving at a frightening pace, and technology is now so deeply embedded in the retail experience that we absolutely had to move at pace. We see things like artificial intelligence. A few months ago, 6 months ago, it was a good idea. Now it's becoming a major piece of people's strategy. Cloud offered the only option we had to operate at the level of pace we needed to survive in the retail business. AWS and the cloud has made us faster because it allows us to play, to experiment, and do things more quickly. The lead time from idea to playing with it to deploying it now, again, is down dramatically, exponential over what it used to be. There is no cost to fail. Again, we can pick up, fire up platforms, fire up infrastructures really quickly and play with them. If they don't work, we're not out a lot of money and there's nothing lost. So it allows us to experiment and try new ideas, and it allows us to do them much more quickly. So the time in the past, when we used to think of an idea and go through a long process to get the capital expenditure, to build the equipment, to buy the software, to build and implement it, high risk, long lead times. Now, if I have an idea, I can fire up equipment, platforms, ideas within weeks and test them, and that's what makes us go much quicker. AWS has really helped us in a lot of challenges about mindset of our company. One of the big things I had to overcome was to get our board to understand that to become a digital company was not buying fancy assets on the outside that touch the customer. It was building things from the inside. The process I went about to convince the board that we needed to move to cloud, and specifically Amazon, was through a lot of education. I had to help them understand what it truly meant to be a digital company. AWS has come into this by providing platforms as a service, along with infrastructure as a service. So we no longer need to worry about going out and buying a license for a database and installing it on a piece of equipment. We can fire up a test database, try a test on it. If it doesn't work, throw it away. We can try new concepts by firing up a lot of the platform services that Amazon has. And again, cheap to start them up. We can begin them instantly. Black Friday was transformed by Amazon. The traffic spiked wildly throughout the day, and we experienced no downtime, no response time effects. The site stayed up. Our chief executive was quite disappointed because he felt that everybody else's site falling over meant they were busy, and the fact that ours worked super fast meant that we weren't busy, but it was exactly the opposite. It was our biggest day of the year. So our idea to take this thing to the next level is really to continue to build out. We're still at the beginning of our journey. We're experimenting with AI, we're experimenting with machine learning across the board, from personalization to buying and merchandising. So we're doing a lot more of what we've got, but we're just starting to build it out on a completely different platform at speed.
By using AWS services, it gives us the flexibility of low-cost setup on the environment and gives us the ability to build up capacity to serve customers, and that leads to better services and happier customers. My name is Chaiwat Ratanaprathipon. I am Chief Technology Officer of iTruma.com at Ascent Group. As a CTO, I oversee the technology development of the e-commerce platform, including our other services under Ascent Group. iTruma.com, based in Bangkok, Thailand. We are one of the fastest growing e-commerce websites in Thailand. We offer the best value merchandises for customers in Thailand, and we are expanding into Asian countries as well. We are fast growing. We grew 1,000% in 2014. In this year, in 2015, we are doubling in terms of number of users in every 3 months. In e-commerce business, speed and agility to release the software and serve customers is a very key capability. It is a live and die capability. It's not just an option. We wanted to use the full stack of technology that can help us deliver our features and software to customers faster. We want something that we can provision and do scaling of our capacity. iTruma.com uses AWS services on EC2, S3, and Direct Connect to run our e-commerce platform. We grew from 100,000 users per month to 1.6 million users per month, and that is an amazing growth. During the day, we would run the campaigns for customers, and during the campaign window, we would run the server at the 400% of the normal capacity. EC2 allows us to boost that capacity in just 2 or 3 hours per day, and then shut it down for the cost saving. We used to take a couple of engineers and a couple of days to build environment, but now with AWS EC2, we just take 20 minutes by anyone in the team, regardless of the experience. By using AWS, our development process can shortcut by 2 to 3 months because we do not have to spend time and overhead in the hardware and procurement process or the environment built out in the data center. Since using AWS, our developers have involved more in the deployment process, more DevOps culture. They deploy features faster, they take care of their services better. In reality, a lot of businesses still have existing services running on-premise. With AWS Direct Connect, it helps us operate the two environments in a way similar to hybrid architecture, and allows us to migrate the new services into the cloud to take benefit of the cloud technology while still maintaining the existing services on-premise without giving up those services. iTruma.com now is running 100% on AWS. We are also planning for other services such as the e-payment business that will go on to the AWS in the near future, including other website services that we have in the company.
Wow, that was amazing. How exactly they transitioned from an on-premises data center, moved on to AWS because they wanted to digitalize. And this is amazing to see that they suffered no changes in the customer response times, no downtime, especially when they were going through a Black Friday sale. And as very rightly said at the end, that they just started onboarding onto AWS. Now they have started going to more advanced level, which is incorporating machine learning, and then going ahead and talking about integrated contact center as well. And this should be the strategy in majority of the cases. We always take baby steps in the starting. We're building something which is very basic. We learn from our mistakes, because it's obvious we will never succeed in the first place. It will take time. We learn from the mistakes. We'll have failures. Once we learn from the failures, we understand what the best practices are. Then slowly we build onto those concepts and get into more advanced phase of using cloud services to completely digitalize the retail sector from SMB perspective. So I have gone and I have added 3 different case studies here. I just wanted to share one case study with you. Feel free to go through the other case studies whenever you feel like. So we have got one more case study coming from iTrueMart, right? So this is again a retail business. So feel free to go through these case studies, right? We now understand the market trend. We understand the SMB retail needs. We understand how cloud goes ahead and helps us overcome these challenges and fulfill the needs, and where AWS sits in. We have got all of that information. So what's next? How we should begin our journey with AWS? What should be the first step we should take to digitalize? So first thing which we should be doing is ensuring that we have got a repository of all different support places. You can partner with AWS using Sambhav program. So AWS Sambhav program is a dedicated program directed towards SMBs from different business verticals. You can register yourself for in there. You can go and you can also have a look at our SMB blog, what other customers are sharing, what all our solution architects sharing, what are startups doing. So you can go and you can have a look at that. So this is the complete repository. And obviously, in case you want to reach out to us, feel free to visit aws.amazon.com/contact-us. You can get in touch with our technical teams. You can get in touch with our sales teams. This is from the help perspective, contact perspective, and the different programs you can enroll. Let's go and let's talk about the Sambhav program in greater detail. So when I talk about the Sambhav program, it's an exclusive program from AWS, which is directed towards SMBs from different business verticals. And this program helps the SMBs accelerate their digitalization journey, accelerate cloud adoption in their workloads. So it starts with light use cases. So you go ahead and you perform a simple website migration. You start doing sales forecasting. You store your data on durable storages. Then usage credits, 1 to 3 months, folks, you get usage credits available so that you can have experimentation. SMBs have got this happening for them. They need something to experiment without taking a dent on their budgeting. So they get 1 to 3 months MRR worth AWS usage credits to support experimentation, business continuity, implement at ease. So you can take help of our APN partners and you can get implementations at a subsidized price, right? So end-to-end managed service offerings. And it's very important. You move to the cloud, you need to ensure that your people, the employees, are also aware of how exactly AWS works. They should be able to support the day-to-day operations. So you can also go ahead and you can get trainings. We have digital trainings available on AWS Skill Builder, absolutely free of cost. We have got instructor-led trainings. You can attend webinars. Then there are multiple different days we conduct: migration day, database day, right? Containers day. So you can go and you can attend that as well, and you can try to narrow down the gap of the skill set so that once you move to the cloud, your employees are able to support the day-to-day operations. So these are the benefits you get with the exclusive Sambhav program which we run. So you go ahead and you start with 5 broad use cases, folks. First is securing the storage. Obviously, storage is of utmost importance. So secure the storage, have backup strategies in place, host your website on AWS on EC2 instances. Migrate your resources from on-premises to AWS so that you start decommissioning your data center and free up resources in there. what all data you have got, run analysis onto it using our services and get deeper insights. And finally, you improve the customer engagement. So you understand your customer requirements and you give them that tailor-made environment they need. So these are the benefits of the AWS SambHav program. You can also visit aws.amazon.com/training in case you want to go ahead and learn about any specific service. So as I said earlier, you can visit AWS Skills Builder. There are multiple digital courses available over there, absolutely free of cost. You can also enroll yourself for instructor-led trainings, 3 days, 4 days. You can also go and attend the different webinars which we conduct. Certification is also important. Certification will showcase the skill set of your employees so that they are well equipped to support day-to-day operations. So you can visit aws.amazon.com/certifications to get more details about the different AWS certifications which are offered. Migration is very important because once you start digitalizing, once you take a decision that, yes, I want to go ahead and move the workloads to cloud, the very first thing you will be looking at is migration. So first, when I talk about migration, you can get enrolled for Migration Acceleration Program. So Migration Acceleration Program is an initiative from AWS in which we give consulting support. So we talk about, we take the details of your workloads. We talk about how these workloads will be moved, what will be the migration methodology you will be using, is there any specific training needed. We also give you service credits to reduce risk. And you can go ahead and you can take the help of our dedicated teams, our technical teams, which is AWS Professional Services, to go ahead and have migration at unprecedented pace. So migrate your workloads to AWS in minimum possible time. You can also visit AWS Solutions Library. So if you've got a specific use case, for example, I want to have session-based games. I want to go ahead and I want to perform product personalization. I want to go ahead and I want to have AR, VR solutions. I want to do real-time advertising, right? Any specific case, please visit AWS Solutions Library and you will find the solutions in there. Now, I'm not saying that all of the solutions will be available, but majority of the solutions you will find in there. For example, warehouse management, POS management, and all of that. You can also enroll yourself for AWS workshops in order to gain hands-on experience. So workshops, folks, are created by our own experts. So we have got experts sitting here at AWS, which design the training modules and curate these workshops. You can attend these workshops. You can get a hands-on experience. Like, for example, let's say I want to implement security. What all different security services are in there? How can I have an end-to-end security system deployed in AWS? That can be done through AWS workshops. So feel free to visit AWS workshops and get a hands-on experience. And you can access it from anywhere. You just need an internet connection to start with. And by that, I will go ahead and I will, again, would like to thank you all for watching this video. My name is Shivendra Pratap Singh. I am a technical trainer with India TNC. And you will also be able to see my email address, shiveshi@amazon.com. Feel free to get in touch with me in case you need any explanation or any clarification based on the points which I have covered. I hope this session was pretty fruitful. We were able to understand the requirements which are there, the challenges which are encountered by retail SMBs on a day-to-day basis, and how cloud resolves them, especially AWS. Thank you once again for your time and patience, and thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye and take care.